Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So today we have something cool. This is the FLOUREON Racer 250 FPV racing quadcopter. Now basically, you've probably seen my review. If you haven't, check it out. There's an eChine as well. This is basically a direct copy to the eChine 250 Racer, but just rebranded for the FLOUREON brand here, but it looks almost exactly the same. So what we're going to do, I believe this is the RTF version, so this has the screen, it has the controller, it has everything you need, I believe, to get this thing going. So I'll be opening this up, we'll be unboxing it here, doing a nice thorough inspection, getting some close-ups of all the components, making sure it's ready to fly and setting it up. And then in the next video, I'm going to go ahead and take this out and do a thorough flight test on this guy, get the video of how it looks. I'm going to be putting on some goggles, doing some FPV trials and stuff, and also doing a line of sight test flight to see if we can see any differences between the two. So if you're wondering the specs on this and stuff and the current pricing, go ahead and just click down there below the video. I'll have the link in the description of where you can click and find out all the information and the pricing. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox this. Basically the same kind of box and everything, just with different naming than the eChine. It's just got some black and white pictures here, just a color in the front, and then just kind of a black and white on the back of the craft here with the wording FLOUREON Racer 250. And see what we get in this package. Now, like I said, this should be the RTF package. So we're just pulling out this big piece of foam here, and it's just basically this big kind of black piece of foam. I think I actually have it upside down, so let's flip this over. Some stuff is already falling out. Look familiar to you? It probably does, because I have done a review on eChine, which this is a copy of. Anyways, here is what we get. So it looks like this is a little compartment for our propellers. They're giving us 2 sets of propellers, and these look like 5-inch by 45 degree pitch. So that's great. They give us dual propellers. Velcro strap for a battery. We have looks like some hardware for the FPV screen we're going to be attaching to the controller. Nothing else in there. Over here we've got circular polarized antenna. So this is the one we're going to be attaching to the craft, it looks like. They kind of, these are a little bit cheaper kind of antennas. There's no real rigid positioning on these guys, so I'd recommend if there's one thing you upgrade on this craft, it'd be the antennas. I'm not sure if these are that great of antennas. You can see how they just kind of flop around. But anyway, they do include a circular polarized. That's going to go on the craft. Here's our charger with our cabling. So it looks like just kind of a plain Jane 3S, 2S charger with, this is a US power plug. And we would just plug this in here and then plug this into our wall and plug the battery in here. I think they include a 3S, which we'll find out in just a sec. Anyways, that's everything in the top of the box except for the FLOUREON 250, which we'll pull out now. So here it is. So pretty neat looking. It looks almost basically exactly like the eChine 250, but this one has an already installed ParkFly receiver. So it's a 2.4 gigahertz receiver, and here is the battery they're including with this one. This looks like it is. Yes, it is the RTF version. I'm seeing the controller down here. Let's just take a look at this battery real quick. So it's a 1500 milliamp 30C battery, which is actually 3S 11.1 volt. And I'm not sure, but I could use a 4S in the eChine, but I'm not sure if you can use one. I've heard some stories that 4S is too much for these things, but I'm just kind of wondering why my initial review of that other one was able to handle 4S. Who knows, maybe they changed some components. But anyway, that's the battery, and here it is. So it's got the same kind of light bar on the back, LED light bar. Here's where we're going to plug in our power here. This is where we're going to put in our antenna, which I'm just going to put on right now. Just screw this on. Around the side we have the same kind of plastic arms as the other model. We do have branded FLOUREON motors now. These are 2204 2300 kV motors. Look like they're going to be good motors. The last version of this I reviewed was really strong. I did some major crashing and I only broke one of these little feet off. So I wouldn't doubt this is going to be the same kind of strength because it looks like it's a direct copy of that one. Here we can see the ESCs are underneath, just strapped in, nice and tight. What I was really impressed with on the other one was this neat little foam padding they kind of just have stuck to the bottom. It made it kind of really nice, a little finishing here, which also protected, since this is kind of an integrated circuit board on the bottom, it actually protected those circuits as well. So over in here we can see how we have all the cabling nicely routed, plugged into the flight controller. And on this one I believe you could turn off and on the lights if you wanted to, so there's a switch for that. Pulling it around to the top, we have a little camera dampening mount which you can velcro a camera onto. Here's the FPV camera in the front. Let's just pop off this lens. This one actually looks like it might already be, that might be the maximum up it can go, so I think this one's already pushed all the way back. You can see it has this little notch in the front, and it looks like this tab is already pushed all the way to the back. So in actuality this might be the highest you can tilt. So this would be more like for a beginner FPV racer that's getting into FPV, because you can't tilt it super high up. When you get really good, you're going to want to tilt that thing up so you can fly really fast like that and still have a view of the horizon. So that looks like the maximum this one will tilt. You got your big old LED headlights in the front, kind of an interesting smiley face just like the other version. You've got this glass carbon fiber. I don't think this is full carbon fiber. This is like a glass mix carbon fiber. Really nice and pretty though. FLOUREON sticker on the top, little nameplate. You get these big old capacitors just like the other one to give you that power when you need it. There's the flight controller, and for the flight controller I honestly can't remember what this one is, but they'll mention it on the specs at the website on that link I put in the description, so you can check that out. All I'm seeing on here is AfroFlight 3.2. I'm not sure if that's a NAS or a CC3D. You can check out the specs on this if you're interested to see what flight controller it has. Anyway, pretty opened up on the other side. There's really nothing to it here, and that's basically the craft in a nutshell. Really nice looking thing. I know it's going to be very sturdy and solid for a beginner to use, just because of the other one I flew that's identical to this. But anyway, sorry, I kind of got ahead of myself. I said I was going to take everything else out before the craft, but here we go. This is the second level, and this is going to be a monopole FPV antenna. Here's the FPV screen you get. So this nice big FPV screen with a screen protector. Let's go ahead and pull this off. So that's just protecting that from shipping, and it is quite shiny. It's slight matte, but it's quite shiny actually. And over here it looks like a really good screen though, nice and big. It looks like it's got a lot of connections to it. Let me just go ahead and screw this thing on so you guys can see how this looks, just like that, and then just pointing this up. So here we go with the screen. Not seeing a sunshade, so that's kind of unfortunate that they don't include any kind of sunshade with this thing. Here's the controller, and this is a FlySky FSI6 controller that are with some of the other quadcopters as well. This has a little bit of a protective plastic on the top, and you know, you've got all these functions, pitch, roll. These are going to be your modes of flight, which we'll go over in just a sec. I honestly don't see an instruction manual in here, so you know, I'm going to have to probably be figuring some of this out on my own. The other version of this I had was almost ready to fly, so I had to use my own controller. I used the Tyrannus, this Tyrannus on the other version I had, and I put in my own receiver in the craft. So with this one I've got the RTF, so I'm going to have to kind of look at what these functions do, but I'll be sure to mention them while I'm doing the flight test on what the functions do. I'm assuming one is probably going to be for modes of flight. You're going to have, you know, complete attitude where it's self-leveling without flips. You're going to have a horizon, or also called ratitude, in the middle switch, where you have self-leveling, but you can also do flips if you want, and if you let go it will still self-level. And then we're probably going to also have full acro mode, so you can fly really aggressively and there will be no self-leveling once you get better. So we'll definitely be testing all that out in the flight test. This is just kind of the unbox, inspection, and setup. This one does take 4 AA batteries. You got a little trainer port on the back, and a bunch of these other buttons just for menu and stuff. Let's get back to the screen. So we have power on and off, we have plus and minus, we have an OK, we have a menu, and we have a video in 1 and 2 on the bottom. So those are all the buttons on the front. Looks like we have a little LED light here, and also 3 lights here. It looks like there are actually notches for an FPV sunshade, so I'm sure there's one we could get for this if we wanted to. And then back here we have the bracketing hookups. So on the back here we can see that we have this kind of inlaid metal looking hookup, so that's cool. 2 big cooling ports and or possibly speakers. I'm not sure if you can have sound out of this. On the back here, this is kind of neat. We've got all of these ports on the back, and these are saying this is our SMA antenna connector, obviously for our FPV. We have an audio video out, so say you have a set of goggles or another screen or a DVR, you can go ahead and connect to that. We have an audio video in, so if you wanted to use this as a separate screen to display, video or FPV or whatever, you have an audio in input. You have your DC in for power, and then you have a USB. Not sure what that USB is going to be for, but that's probably for some kind of programming. And that's about it for the FPV monitor. I'm liking how big it is, man. This thing looks like it's about a 7-incher, 6 or 7 inch, maybe more of like a 7-inch screen actually. So that's going to give us a nice big view of our FPV when we do our test. When we do our flight test, I'll also be doing goggles as well. So we'll have a view on how this looks and also how it's going to be looking in the goggles while I fly it around. Anyway, that's the FPV screen. We got some cabling here. So it looks like this. They're giving us a power cable. So this would actually be just to charge it. So you just plug in with a JST connector and you can charge your battery in the screen there. Okay, so you got to hold in the power for a couple seconds and then let go. And there we go. There's our screen power on. And then holding in and for a couple seconds and letting go. So this does have a built-in battery, so that's great. You don't have to have an extra battery for that. And I'm seeing only a couple more things in the package here. Let's go ahead and pull these out. We've got a couple of alternate connection cables. This looks like an alternate, maybe FPV cable here. And we have 2 bind plugs. The last thing in here is this little package with a neck strap. Okay, so here we go. So open up the bag, getting all the hardware out. Again, I didn't get any instructions in my package, but this should be fairly simple to hook up. Just going to take out all the peripherals here, dump them out, see what we got. Okay, so here's how it's looking like we're going to mount this thing up. So first thing we want to do is take this big bracket and just screw it into the bottom of the FPV screen with this giant provided little thumb screw here. And it's already pre-threaded in the bottom of the screen. So we're just basically threading it in there and making sure it's tight. So anyway, that's mounted up. Let's go ahead and set that down for a second and go ahead and mount up this part. So it looks like there's a couple of ways you can do this. I'm going to go ahead and use this extra little piece they give and just kind of put this in. It kind of sets right in this hole on the controller. And of course you're not going to be able to use your neck strap on this part, so that's why this has got this little rail here. So you're going to want to make sure when you put this on that you have this facing out towards you so you can clip on your neck strap if you want to use your neck strap. So I'm just going to put this thing in here, slip this thing over, and that's how that's going to be setting on there. But first thing we want to do is screw this thing in nice and tight. So we're going to take one of these little washers, put it right there. There's 2 of these little smaller screws that are the same. We're going to slide a screw through here and go ahead and put on a nut. I didn't see any tools included in the package, so you're going to have a few wrenches. On this one, I'm just getting a couple of hex wrench and a little other wrench I had lying around. Just doesn't need to be perfect, just whatever does the job. And get that kind of tight for now. I'm not going to tighten it too much because I want to still be able to move it for the installation. Then we're taking this thing and just basically bolting this right over that little square piece. It's going in there nice and tight, and then put on the other. These are little lock nuts, so there is actually plastic inside of them, so they'll lock into place and won't loosen up. So we just want to tighten this one up as well. And this one is actually, this is threaded on one side, so we don't need another nut. So just slide that over, put this through, and then we're just tightening this thing down. Okay, cool. So those things are cranked down nice and tight. Now the screen's staying up a little bit better. You may have to just figure out your own way of connecting this thing. This is just a little quick and dirty example of how to hook up this bracket. I probably have something wrong on here because I've never hooked up a bracket like this before, but it looks like it'll be okay. So the battery mounting on this FLOUREON 250 is a little bit funky, kind of like the previous eChine version was. And what I found the best way to do it, is just to route your Velcro here through the top and just pull the battery up from the bottom cage up to the top. I tried to strap it to the bottom, and it's just a little bit cumbersome to figure all that out. So I just have a loop kind of wrapping around the battery, and then I'm just tweaking it down like this and then velcroing it to the side right here. So that should hold pretty good, you know, in a crash. Also, one other thing I'm noticing is they don't really give you any kind of antenna mounting deal. They have the receiver antennas just kind of tie wrapped into this little bundle of cables here. So I'm going to actually take these out and I'm going to mount these up so you get a little bit better range. And I'm going to use just this 3D printed deal here, this little antenna mounting kit I got from eBay, and route these two antennas through these antenna tubes. And that should give us much better range, because if you fly it just like it is, like this, with these two bunched up together, it's going to really limit your range. Some guys will do, you can do a zip tie. If you don't want to get one of these, you want to do it a simple way, just get zip ties that are long enough for these guys and zip tie, you know, to these little holes here and have the zip ties sticking up. Route these along the zip ties and then put some shrink wrap over the zip ties, and that's a good alternative if you don't have any antenna tubes or you don't want to use antenna tubes, and that works just fine too. I just went ahead and moved the FLOUREON insignia here down a little bit so I could fit one of those antenna mounts in there. Just stuck it right to the carbon fiber, routed those antenna up through, and just went ahead and recut this antenna tubing so it's a little more to the correct length, since we used up some of that antenna length, routing them, and then just basically pushing these antenna tubes right over the antennas. That'll give us some good signal, and it'll keep them away from the propellers when the propellers are spinning. Keep them rigidly up high and away. Anyway, that's the way I'm doing it. Of course, you can do it however you want. And so this is a ready-to-fly system, but apparently you're going to have to do a little bit of work just to optimize everything slightly. Okay, so here we go, initial power up. So first things first, I'm going to power up the FPV screen here. Turn that on. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the controller. Plug in the FLOUREON Racer 250. And it looks like we immediately have picture when it boots up. Really important, make sure your video transmitter antenna's on before you do this, otherwise you might burn out the antenna. Anyway, there we go. There's our picture. We can see that we have really next to no lag. It seems like a very good FPV system. You can see how that is really barely any lag at all, and that's really what you want. But anyway, there's our FPV screen. We can see that we've got a couple of deals here. We've got time ticking away. It's showing our voltage. It looks like that's the voltage on the craft, and showing us what channel we're on. For this one, let's see, arming. I believe this is to the bottom. Yeah, so to the bottom right is our arming. And it looks like with this is they have it set for the motors to slowly spin when it's armed. And what I'm noticing is it's not disarming. So disarming should be to the bottom left with the throttle. So that's disarmed. Let's arm again. And there we go. When you do crash, you're going to want to make sure that you go ahead and disarm this as soon as possible to the bottom left, just to prevent the motors from spinning into the ground or something. Anyway, we can see that the lights are actually not on right now. Looks like they have them off by default. Even this tail light is not on. And let's see if we can turn that on. So I'm going to flip this switch here. And there we go. So that just immediately turned on our front lights and also our rear light. So we can see that nice blue glow on the rear. So, you know, have those on for night flight if you want, or if you're doing line of sight day flight. Really nice and visible lights. Flip the switch off on the side here. If you're doing maybe FPV in the daytime, save yourself some drainage of the power from the lights. Let's go ahead and put on just a prop real quick in case somebody doesn't really know how to put on their propellers. And really all you're doing on the propellers is what's going to happen is the motors are going to be spinning. The rears are spinning in towards the back and the fronts are spinning in towards the front. And you just want to make sure that the top edge of your propeller here is on like this, and the top edge is going to be spinning with the way the motor spins. So the top edge is going to be spinning into the back, and then just make sure on the front the top edge here is spinning into the front. So it's going to scoop the air for lift. And then really simple, it looks like the black ones are going to be your clockwise, and then the silver caps are going to be your counterclockwise. So you want to put that on, and then you want to have like a wrench or something, or a little mini screwdriver with you when you go in the field, and you want to put that through this hole. You want to hold the propeller and you want to kind of crank that down nice and tight. I think this is going to be a really fun one, good for beginners. With this whole RTF package, you get the FPV screen. You can always tune to the right channel with your goggles and do FPV with some goggles. I really like the Fat Shark Dominator V3s, which I'll also have down there in the link in the description. And I'll have all this stuff down there too, this RTF package, as well as I think there's ARF package if you wanted to link your own receiver, put in your own transmitter. You don't necessarily have to buy this RTF version. There's a bunch of versions available. So anyway, I hope you liked the review. Don't forget, I'll have the video of the flight test coming up here real soon, and I'll link that in the description down below, as well as the link to this guy. And also I'll have a card pop up here when that video is ready for the flight test. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.